Cheers, thanks, James.
Chris Duckett there. Well, with Skype, Snapchat and Facebook, among others, at the forefront of digital communications, my next guest says it's important to have a digital communication strategy, especially for businesses, that ensures security amongst messaging programs. Well, for more, Horden Wiltshire, CEO of Soprano Design, joins me now in studio. Horden, thanks very much for your time today. Just talking about security in messaging, is it an issue at the moment, particularly for businesses? Is the level of security that is needed not currently available widely or being used widely?
It's interesting. Security is always an issue for businesses, and I saw some recent research that was saying 43% of businesses globally had some form of security breach in the last 12 months in 2014. So businesses all over the place are having different challenges with security, but when you start to talk about messaging in the messaging space, we've all seen the plethora of consumer messaging applications from WhatsApp and Viber and WeChat around the world that have really been that next generation from the traditional text messaging. But what's come with those consumer applications has also been a whole range of security breaches. So every 6 months we've seen those consumer applications either leaking phone numbers or chat histories and so on. But if you're a business, of course, you can't afford to have that type of information being leaked out to your competitors or to the general public.
And is this something that business is aware of and are after, that sort of a messaging service beyond email, beyond various forms that might be used now, but with that security aspect to it?
Well, it's very interesting. We actually recently conducted a workshop with a number of the leading CIOs in Australia, and what I was surprised to learn in that session was for half of the group, 50% of the group, they thought messaging, secure messaging in the form of whichever application you're using on your device was really important, but half of the group said it wasn't important. The reason for that was that they said that generally the messaging in the workplace that we use on those types of application isn't important. But the big trend, what's actually changing, is more and more important information for businesses is being transferred using messaging applications.
And how difficult is it to ensure that security, particularly amongst mobile devices?
Well, security is never a one-stop shop. It's one of those processes that is ongoing. If you look at a lot of the challenges that we've had to date have been around spoofing with some of these applications, with phishing, and the key to having an effective security strategy in terms of the technology is making sure that you're encrypting the transportation layer level and using the leading standards in encryption libraries and technologies to make sure that that information is kept tightly within the organisation.
So let's talk about Soprano GAMMA.
Yep.
What is it exactly, and how does it fit into what we're talking about?
So Soprano GAMMA is, the easiest way to think about it is think of WhatsApp or consumer messaging application, but wrap around that application the level of security that a business expects in their messaging communications. Couple that with the ability to audit the messages, and in some industries, like in the financial services, for example, the ability to audit is very important from maintaining their requirements with the regulations in place. And the final element of Soprano GAMMA is its ability to integrate into your business workflow. So not just the ability to send communications between key people in your organisation, but also the ability for you to receive a notification if your server farm has gone down. You would get a notification within the messaging app. If you're on a job and you want to check in to say that you've started the job, your supervisor with one click of a button can authenticate and approve that work, and you get notification, and all of that is captured in your ERP or CRM system in your workflows for the business.
So a broad range of capabilities for businesses that adopt it. And have you borrowed from some of the social sort of like devices for your own messaging system?
So of course, when you're always evolving new products, that's an important part of the process. We're always looking at what's out there and how all of that landscape is changing and evolving. But I think probably the key thing that we bring to the product is this idea of integrating it into your workflow, because our traditional business, and we've been in the game of traditional, what we call first generation business messaging, which is that text message that you get. If you do your online banking, you might get a text message from your bank it's authenticating that transaction, or you'll get a notification, an SMS from your airline saying your flight is running late. That's the business that we've been in, and the chances are, if you receive one of those text messages, it's been our software that's been delivering that message. And it's that knowledge, the way these messaging applications are embedded into a business's workflow, we think that really provides a differentiated product.
And do you see it being attractive across the board in terms of sectors or industries, or do you see it being particularly suitable for specific sectors and industries?
Well, so the interesting point about that question is, if you were to say how a business is using traditional text messaging, every business is using text messaging in one form or another. It's either to increase revenues, reduce their costs, or increase productivity. So for every one of those use cases, the Soprano GAMMA product has an application. But we think it will actually unlock a new range of innovation within businesses. So, for example, today if I'm a business and I want to create an application and give it to my staff so that they can interact with my back-end systems in my business, it costs tens of thousands of dollars. With the product and a bit of education, the business themselves can integrate their workflows into that messaging app. So you can do everything you can do on your consumer application today, but importantly, having all of your business processes embedded, all wrapped up in a nice, secure bow, if you like.
And in terms of the market for the company, I mean, are you Australia focused? Is this a product that will be going global, and just the size of the potential market that you're in?
Well, so the enterprise messaging space globally is a $50 billion market, and whilst consumer messaging, person-to-person text messaging is on the decline, business messaging continues to grow strongly because more and more businesses are seeing applications. Our business is an Australian business, but today most of our people and our business is being conducted overseas. So we've launched Gamma here in Australia with Telstra. We've worked with Telstra for many years. They're a great partner. They're launching it as part of their acclaimed Telstra integrated messaging product. But you will see carriers around the world launching Soprano GAMMA as their secure, auditable workflow messaging product in coming months.
Fantastic. Horden Wiltshire, appreciate your time today.
It's great to be here, James. Thanks.